right, y'all. I think I'm live. Sorry I'm late. A little bit late today. Sorry about that. Let me know in the comments if anyone is here. Oh no, it's picking up. Hang on. Can you hear me okay? Is anybody even there to tell me if you can hear me okay? Says I'm live. Okay. I see Sarah's here. Well, good noon. You can't say good morning and you can't say good afternoon because it's noon. Although I did start 12 minutes late. Very sorry about that. So interesting. This week, the lectionary contains, hang on, I want to pull it up. I just got home. We had to run an errand and we didn't time it perfectly. And so we're 12 minutes late. Now I'm getting texts. Okay, so the lectionary this week is, the gospel reading is from Mark 12. And it's the part where one of the scribes comes to Jesus and they're having an argument and they say to Jesus, which commandment is the first of all? And Jesus says, the first is the Lord our God, the Lord is one, and you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind and all your strength. And the second is you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There's no other commandment greater than these. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these. And oh my gosh, there's so much commotion happening. Yeah. So I, of course, was writing the litany that, as I do every week, right? The litany that goes along with the lectionary. And I was thinking about this and thinking about self-love. And what's funny and interesting, at least to me, is that the first time I ever preached for Peace was in July of 2017. Before I was hired, I was like a guest preacher one Sunday, and my sermon was about self-love. That was the first thing I ever talked to any Peace people about, was self-love. And I mean, I've still been having a journey with learning self-love even since then, and I had already been on a journey with it before. But it's such a paradoxical thing because our society and our culture sort of tell us that like self-love is a bad thing, and that we're gonna be selfish, or we're gonna turn narcissistic, or like, I don't know, it's like it's a good thing to withhold love from yourself. And so many of us have a very relentless inner critic. I know that I have had to work so hard to learn to override my inner critic and put her kind of in her place. I sort of imagine in my mind that she's like I give her like a personification of like a batty old aunt, and I really kind of need to keep her contained and happy, and like she needs to be in a room where she's comfy and cozy, and she has like mac and cheese and TV shows that she likes, so that she's um I know it sounds kind of funny, but it's part of how I have healed from having such a relentless inner critic, is to try to learn to be kind to that part of myself that is so judgmental and is so critical. So I imagine her as having a comfy cozy chair, and she's got snacks and treats, and that way she doesn't come downstairs and mind my business for me, because she's gonna make more trouble than I really, I don't want her sticking her nose in my business. So that's one of the ways that I have learned to not to silence the inner critic, because you can't silence the ego. Like this, the ego can't, you can't get rid of it. You have to learn to work with it. And so learning to not give that voice preeminence in my mind, the one that's like, yeah, but you sucked at that, the one that's like, you don't look right, or all the things that your inner judge and critic tells you, or you failed, or you know you're not good enough, you're inadequate. And often I think that inner critic stems from trauma, at least for me and a lot of people that I know, kind of anecdotally. It seems to be true that like what the voice that's in your head that is constantly criticizing and judging and being harsh and harshing on you comes from someone, that you learned that from in your childhood. Maybe you had a parent who was relentlessly critical, or a caregiver of some kind. So, Jesus says that we should learn to love our neighbors as ourselves. And the trouble is, we don't know how to learn how to love ourselves. So, we really don't know how to love our neighbors. And the paradox is that, okay, contrary to what we think is going to happen when we think, or we have this knee jerk reaction that if we give ourselves grace and kindness and loyalty and unconditional acceptance, that we're just gonna fall apart, that we're gonna become selfish and horrible. And I am here to tell you, my friends, I am here to tell you. Oh, I do have some friends here. Hi, I thought I was talking to myself. I have Tiffany, and I have Erin, and I have Naomi, and Sarah. Hey, y'all. I hope I didn't lose my train of thought just now. I'm here to tell you that it is not the case. Self-love, and this is my experience probably over, let's call it 7 years. 7 years of trying to practice a kinder perspective towards myself, a more gentle response to whatever's happening inside my inner landscape and inside my inner narrative, and to scrub the inner narrative clean so that it's not so judgy. This is an investment in yourself, and it's an investment in the world, because it pays dividends when you learn to be kind and non-judgmental and non-critical and acceptant and of yourself. My experience is that we naturally become more graceful to the world. We naturally become less judgy towards the world. It's like if that is the track that's spinning in your head all day long, that you're terrible and that you need to change and you need to be better and you need improvement and you need to lose 20 pounds and all the things. If that is the ticker that's going through your mind, I don't see how we can be non-judgmental towards other people. I don't think it can happen. I don't see that as being true. People say, oh, well, I only judge myself harshly. I'm only hard on myself. And I don't know if that's true. You can disagree with me. You can push back. But I don't know if that's true. And the reason I don't think that's true is because my own experience with learning to become more self-loving and have more self-kindness and self-regard has been that I have become more loving towards other people and more accepting of other people and more willing to just be okay with people's foibles and their quirks and their, look, I said it on Sunday. Look, people are annoying. And I'm no exception to that. I'm no exception, and neither are you. We're all just human, and we can choose either to be relentlessly kind or relentlessly critical. That's what we can choose. And I have found that it has taken a huge load off for me to drop the criticism. I'm not perfect at it yet. It's a whole journey. I'm figuring it out. Hey, Alicia. I'm figuring it out, and I make mistakes, and I catch myself probably half a dozen times a day scolding myself for something. And I guess there's a place for that, because I do have a value for self-improvement. I have a value for ongoing growth and learning and ongoing, spiritual expansion. And, I want to be a lifelong learner, and all that is still true. But the thing that pays off in terms of loving your neighbor is learning to love yourself first. I don't think that we can have one without the other. And I think that's why what Jesus says in this particular, however this passage has been recorded for these millennia since he said it, I think it's why it's profound and beautiful and paradoxical. And as I always say, you guys have probably heard me say this before, whenever we encounter a paradox, we know we're coming near to a big T truth. Something big, something that will require our attention and require our contemplation to sit through, and will probably require some emotional work from us. It might even be the thing, and I think this is actually a pretty important point, that might even be the thing that we need some therapy about. I know I have needed therapy with a professional to help me scrub my internal narrative clean. I say clean. What I mean is to help me move the needle towards more gentleness, more acceptance, and more love. Let me see if there's any comments. Okay, this is an interesting comment from Tiffany. I think some of this issue with this topic is different definitions of what I assume you mean self-love, actually means. Language is important, so people that talk badly about self-care and self-love are actually talking about something else. There's a bug, sorry. Because if you break it down for them on what it means to me, they often agree that yeah. So we sort of have a knee-jerk reaction against the idea of self-love, right? We think that it equates to selfish. So that self-love means selfish. But call it what you want. I often refer to it as gentleness. It's just being more gentle towards myself. I've, try to be a gentle parent if I can. Obviously, I do my best. It's not perfect. Ask my kids. But to sort of reframe it in terms of gentleness, we have not learned in this, at least not in the religious paradigms that I grew up in. We did not learn to be gentle towards ourselves. I don't know how people survive this life without therapy either. I don't know. I wish that it were more accessible to all. I wish that we all just had free therapy cards. Yeah, we all need to work on our self-love. And the thing is, that is not meaningless work. It is meaningful work. It is a long game of how we love ourselves equals and affects how we love the world. Reading through some more comments. Erin says, the more I accept my full self, the more I accept others as they are. Seriously, pretty much everything is understandable. That sounds like empathy too. What if self-love and self-gentleness makes us more empathetic? Well, that's a good thing, and that's worth our time. Yeah. All right, everyone. How can we, in the next couple of days, move the needle just a little bit towards more self-gentleness? How can we rein in the screechy auntie that lives in our heads and give our attention to a kinder voice? Yeah. Okay. I love you all. See you soon. Have a great afternoon.